Welcome to this quick Google Classroom tutorial. Let's begin by learning how to create a classroom. Once you've gotten to the Google Classroom landing page, which can be found at classroom.google.com or by clicking on your 9 jelly bean menu and scrolling down to the Google Classroom icon, you'll come to a screen like this. When you click the plus sign, click Create Class. It will prompt you to begin creating your class. You're going to give your class a name. You're going to give it a section, if relevant, a subject area, and a room number, if that applies. The only field that is required in order to generate the class is the class name. Once you've filled in the fields, click Create. In a moment, your Google Classroom will be created. We're now going to go through the steps of how to change some features in your classroom as well as post assignments. Let's begin with changing the theme of your classroom. You can change the theme of your classroom by clicking on the Select Theme on the right side of the banner image. When you click on that, it will bring up a menu with all different examples of themes that you can choose for your Google Classroom. Once you find one you like, click Select Class Theme. Next, let's look at the settings that are associated with Google Classroom. By clicking on the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner, you'll open your class settings. You'll notice the information that you filled in originally when you generated the classroom is there under Class Details. As you scroll down, there is the next section called General, and that is where you can change the invite codes for your classroom. These codes are what you'll use to invite students to your classroom. You can send them a link, or you can simply share the class code with them, and they will be able to use that code to join your classroom. There are some other settings that you need to be aware of. First is your stream. For your stream, you need to choose one of 3 settings. You can choose to allow your students to post and comment. Students can only comment, or only teachers can post and comment. Typically, I suggest going with students can only comment. This prevents students from creating posts that are brand new to the classroom, but it does allow them to comment on any posts in which you are soliciting feedback. You can also change your classwork on the stream to show attachments and details, just condensed notifications, or to hide notifications entirely. I suggest leaving it at Show Condensed Notifications so that students can see any assignments that are posted in the stream. If you scroll down to the grading section, you'll notice that you can turn your Google Classroom gradebook on and off. Your overall grade calculation is defaulted to no overall grade. You can change that to total points or weighted by category. If you choose weighted by category, note that you need to add your grade categories under grade categories. You can also choose whether or not to have your students view their overall grade. So if I choose total points, I can then toggle on Show Overall Grade to Students. This will allow students to view their overall average as they complete assignments and I issue grades through Google Classroom. Once you've completed going through your settings, click Save, and it will return you out to your Google Classroom. Now let's look at how we invite people to our Google Classroom. By clicking on the People menu at the top, it will bring you to the page that talks about who's in your classroom. You can simply invite students by clicking the little Invite Student icon, which is the person with the plus sign next to students, and entering their email addresses. And then you can simply click Invite. You can also copy this invite link at the top and send it to them via email. Finally, you can invite them using the code for your classroom, which we found on the settings page. So there are 3 different ways to invite people to your classroom. Next, let's take a look at the stream. In the stream, this is where your information will populate as you add things to your Google Classroom. If you would like to make an announcement to your classroom, you do it from this page. You click the Share Something with Your Class box, and you type in a message. You can add documents, YouTube videos, links, and files to this post if you so choose. You also have the ability to select specific students to share the post with. Since there are currently no students in this classroom, I'm unable to do so. Once you have created your announcement, you click Post, and it will post that announcement to your class stream. Next, let's take a look at classwork. In the Classwork tab, there are a few different things of which you should be aware. First, when you click the Create button, you can add topics to your classroom. This is a great way to keep your classroom organized. If I add topics to my classroom, I can use them later when I post assignments, review materials, etc. You could create as many topics as you like. Now let's take a look at how we create an assignment within those topics. If I go to Create and I choose Assignment, I am now able to create assignments for my class. So I'm going to create my first assignment, and I'm going to call it Assignment Number 1, blah, blah, blah. I can add directions if I want to. This is optional. And then what I do is I choose a Google Doc to add to my assignment. You don't need to add a Google Doc. You can add anything you want to the assignment, but I want to show you a feature that is really important. If I were to choose a file from my Google Drive, I'm going to choose this one, Insert. What I can do is I can choose to provide my students with the option of only viewing the file, editing the file, which means every student is editing my original file, or make a copy for each student. If I choose make a copy for each student, Google Classroom will act as a virtual copy machine where each student will get their own version of the document that they can edit and then submit for completion. Most of the time, this is the feature you will use when assigning your assignments. You should give your assignment a point value, a due date, time if you want, and this is where you can give it a topic. Once you've done all of that, you can click Assign, and now the assignment will post to your Google Classroom. Some other features under the Classwork tab is the question feature. If I click on Question, I can type a question to my students. I can choose for it to be short answer or multiple choice. So if you're polling your students, you can choose multiple choice. I'm going to choose short answer. Again, we give it a point value. You can give it a due date if you so choose. You can choose a topic. And this is where you can allow students to reply to one another if you'd like, and or edit the answer that they provide. You can also add reference materials to your question if you so choose. Once you've finished, you click Ask, and now you'll notice that one is an assignment with a clipboard, the other is a question. Another type of post is material. Material is just reference material that you may want your students to have access to. In this case, I'm going to choose a YouTube video on icebergs. I am going to take my YouTube video, we don't need to actually watch it. I'm going to pull the share link from the video. I'm going to go back to my classroom and I'm going to put the link in here. And now my video is here. I will select it and add it. So now this video will serve as the study guide for my students. I'm going to give it a topic and I'm going to post it. And you'll notice that there is no due date associated with it because it's material. So they're not turning it back in, they're just using it for reference. You can also embed a quiz assignment into your Google Classroom where you would use Google Forms to create an assessment. This is a great tool for formative assessment. I'm going to X out of that. I hope this tutorial was helpful and that you are easily able to navigate Google Classroom. It's a very powerful tool for delivering instructional materials to students.